you can even leverage the viewpoints in that NWD so that those guys don't even have to know how to use the model. They can just click around in here and start locating where they are. And I can start QCing what's in the field. You know what? This isn't installed correctly. I'm gonna hold down right there, check twice, and now everybody can tell in the office back from the field that that's not installed correctly. Glad you guys are interested in learning about assets. The thing that I love is that now with the capabilities of Gamma AR, which is a gold partner, you can overlay these assets in the field. So let's say you have sleeve conditions and you want to understand the layout and QC it right in the field. Well, Gamma AR is going to allow you to leverage that ACC model, bring it into the field, and actually communicate back to the office. And you talked about working with design teams, right? So if I could label an issue in the field, in the model, in AR, would that be able to help you communicate back to that fabricator, that drafter? What are the thoughts that you have with that?
Yeah, for sure. I think any way we can communicate to off-site folks the status of the live field, I think that's certainly a value. And I also think just being able to connect the model object to where you physically are in the field is extremely powerful.
Awesome, 100%. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna show you what it's gonna look like for that field foreman or super that they were actually asking me, can I overlay this model in the field and talk to you guys back in it? So if I pull up my iPad right here, when I go into Autodesk Construction Cloud and our files tool, I can actually go to, let's go to the Expo floor plan. And in the Expo file, let's go Expo model. You'll be able to bring in NWCs, DWGs, IFCs, and Revit files in our assets tool. And what I like is that you can even leverage the viewpoints in that NWD so that those guys don't even have to know how to use the model. They can just click around in here and start locating where they are. So today we're gonna be overlaying the actual Expo model on our booth so that we can do some asset tracking. So now, this is where Gamma AR comes into play. Gamma AR is going to allow you to directly sync that Autodesk Construction Cloud model directly from your files tool so that you can have the latest and greatest information. So you're going to have the version control, but you're also going to have that ability to update those statuses that we talked about in the assets module, as well as the issues. So in this Expo model, all I'm going to do is open up that Revit Cloud workshared model we talked about, and it's going to ask me a few steps. It's going to ask me to find a corner. So earlier, you guys saw me looking at this Revit model. So on this Revit model, this is my desk. When you're in Gamma AR, it's gonna ask you for 2 points. Those 2 points are gonna locate where you are in the field. So you have to have some type of edge. So you're gonna see right here, align to corner. I'm on level 1. And then it's gonna give me this edge right here. So that edge is that little block wall that I just kind of put there for a reference point. So now, let's bring this back up here.
If I'm going to do my clash detection here, I can start over to my clash tool.
All right, here we go. So kind of like when you're in VR, it's going to recognize the floor. And once it recognizes the floor, this is where I can go ahead and start placing that model.
I'm going to do that. That's going to go through and show me those clashes. Now, I have all my ghosting, and I can turn that off or on if I want.
You don't have to place it perfectly. You can always adjust it manually if you need to.
I just want to see what my visions are and see what's going on. I can turn on my colors. Right? You can color the model now. So if I go in and say turn on my object colors.
And now you can see the Revit model is overlaid onto the real model. Now what I love about the assets tool is we're still going to be able to map that issue back to the Construction Cloud as well as the 3D geometry. So whether you want to call it AR or VR, it's all based on you overlaying that model. So if I turn everything off, you can say this is what is in our Revit model right now. But I can also do an overlay, and I can start QCing what's in the field. So your guys will actually know where that rebar is, where the sleeves need to be located. And to take it a step further, I can let everybody know that that laptop's in the wrong spot. So I'm gonna click on it. Well, if I can. There we go. And that checkbox that I see right here is gonna allow me to say, hey, I want everybody to know that this is installed. So I'll just click check. And now everybody's gonna get a notification when we hop into the Construction Cloud that that has been installed successfully. If I wanna do something else and say, you know what, this isn't installed correctly, I'm gonna hold down right there, check twice, and now everybody can tell in the office back from the field that that's not installed correctly. And then if I wanna create an issue on an item, I just click on create issue. Just like in the Construction Cloud, it's gonna allow you to mark up that issue and let everybody know exactly where that issue lies. So now we'll go back into the Autodesk Construction Cloud. So if I click refresh and our Wi-Fi is working correctly, we should be able to see an issue, and we'll also be able to see those asset statuses updated in our Construction Cloud. So my Wi-Fi is not working, but if it were, you'd be able to click on the status of the asset and actually see, hey, this is open, this is solved, this is a problem. Any questions there?
Does the image that you just took, is that part of the files or resources of that object? How is that?
So the image I just took is actually going to be a part of an issue.
Okay.
So if I click on this issue, you'll be able to go back and see that image that I just took.
Gotcha.
So earlier today when I did this, I took this picture of the flat screen because it was up there, and I was letting my folks back in the office know, hey, we need to push this down a little bit. And it's gonna take a picture in the AR world as well as the model, I believe.
And I can see that in Revit too, right?
Yes. So if my Wi-Fi was working again, in the coordination plugin on Revit, you'll be able to see that issue mapped exactly in the Revit model. So you don't have to do anything, it's already placed for you.
Well, is it there? Is it the right object? How do you advise customers like us on kind of what tolerance for kind of, is it in the right location? And when does creep factor set in on when do you have to recalibrate gamma?
On the AR side, so I'm not the Gamma AR rep. I'm really trying to show that Autodesk Construction Cloud, tied with different integrations, can actually allow you to leverage our cloud system to communicate in multiple different ways. Gamma is going to tell you that you can easily align things based off your automated, and it's based on the device as well.
Okay.
Does it work on a headset too, or just on the iPad?
Does it work on a headset?
Like an AR headset, like I think Trimble has one.
Well, I think the value that they were trying to create is that you don't need any physical, anybody on their phone can do this. And it's really, you said use case, mechanical rooms for placing equipment, as well as finding sleeves. I did a lot of self-performed concrete. So if you're doing any PT slabs and you need that penetration to be in the right spot, we used to have to get a point cloud scanner before and after the pour, which took up time. It was very expensive and labor intensive for the project engineer to move around this scanner. With this thing, you can lay out a whole building. As I walk around, I'm kind of tethered because I'm trying to share my screen, but you'll be able to walk around the building and actually start QCing all the different structures if that's in the right place.
The concept of being able to pinpoint your physical location in the field, is that a capability you think assets will build in at some point?
Pinpoint your physical location in the field through the assets?
Well, being able to use the GPS of your device and then being able to then basically locate equipment within proximity to you based on status.
That's a great, I think we might have that capability coming on the roadmap at some point. Issues has GPS location and Photos has GPS location. both of those can be a reference to that asset.
Okay.
So a lot of the times we see our, trade partners, consultants, contractors using that photo with that GPS location, tying that to the asset so everybody knows where it is. So any other questions on that specific demonstration? What are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, questions on tolerance and calibration of XR and field.
So calibration, tolerance, outside of that, you think it could be valuable
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
for making sure you guys have things in the right spot or preventing rework, or where are you
I
at?
think tying basically model, just the being able to bring the model to the field for things that have not yet been installed, and seeing basically, like I can tell you a perfect example of like when we have to post drill an epoxy anchor bolts and wanting to know where rebar is, and if we've had that model and we've installed per the model, big ifs, right? But being able to then like basically it's X-ray vision.
X-ray vision. Yep. Thank you.
I think it can be really good for model coordination purposes to compare to existing conditions. So if you're working in a building that already has ductwork, fire protection, storm already up there and installed, you can overlay your model with what's already up there to make sure that you're not going to have any coordination issues down the road.
100%. So really what we're trying to demonstrate is that you're going to be able to connect design through construction and even at closeout with that as-built information. And if that is really built to, the plans, that can become its own contract document that you can hold everybody accountable with. Well, thank you guys for joining us for today's demo. Yeah, you can find more stuff on our LinkedIn as well as mine. Thank you. Cool. It's like you guys are on my Bill Nye the Science Guy class. That was awesome. You're more than welcome to stay and ask more questions.